West and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to talk to you just briefly on the subject of boundaries. Boundaries, what a topic. Boundaries are so important. They are absolutely essential to a Christian in their walk. Boundaries are important because they define who you are and who you are not. And I have learned over the past few months, I've been studying the subject of boundaries with the First Lady at my church. I have found so many things that I just haven't always lived, I haven't always thought about, and it really gives you another perspective when you begin to really dive deep into the subject. I'm not going to do that today, but I am going to recommend a book to you all that she and I have been studying together, and it's called Boundaries. It's an amazing book by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And it's just such an amazing read. I just absolutely suggest it to everyone that's watching here today. But you know, what I have found with boundaries is that boundaries is going to make people either respect you or it's going to make them fall away. And what you don't need are people in your life who want to control you, and you don't need people in your life who feel that you are a pushover because of the lack of boundaries. And so there are so many different reasons that we have a lack of boundaries. You know, sometimes we just don't say what we feel, and we do things out of guilt or on impulse because we don't want people to look at us like we are not good people, or we don't want people to be upset with us. We don't want people to get mad at us. We don't want to lose people. But, you know, the book has really helped me understand that anybody that walks away from you or begins to hate you because you have clearly set boundaries in place for yourself is a person that really wasn't for you from the beginning. And you have to get to a place where you're okay with losing the people who are not truly for you. And anybody who is for God is going to be for you because you belong to God. And we really only need to be in close relationship with people who are on this same path. Another thing that I have learned reading this book is that it's so important for us to own and take responsibility for our own feelings. We have to get to a place where we can have hard conversations with people. We need to be able to say what bothers us. You know, the same way that God confronts sin and allows consequences for it is the same way we have to confront the wrong in our lives, and we have to be able to allow consequences for it. You know, for example, if you have a friend that's always late and they never consider your time, then you have to get to a place where you stop waiting for them. You have to move on and do things without them. And that is a consequence for them not respecting your time. Or if you can't have a disagreement with your spouse or with another individual without them getting belligerent and disrespectful, a consequence to that would be, you know, well, I'm going to leave. I'm going to remove myself from this situation until you can be respectful. And you're not being ugly when you put boundaries in place. You're loving yourself enough to keep the good in and to keep the bad out. At the end of the day, God is not going to ask us about anybody else. He's going to ask us about us, you know, when we get to the judgment gate. And so we have to get to a place where we do everything that we can to live like he would want us to live, to respond like he would want us to respond. And if that means separating ourselves from people, places, things, then that's just what that means. So boundaries has been so helpful for me. Not only just learning how to set boundaries, but learning how to accept boundaries from other people. Learning about boundaries between myself and God. The same way he gives me free will, I need to understand that he has free will. You know, his answer is not always going to be yes when I pray for something. And that doesn't make him the bad guy. You know, we have to give God freedom to be who he is without withdrawing, without deciding that he must not love us, or, you know, deciding that we're going to throw a pity party. You know, God allows us to make our own choices, and we need to give him the same freedoms. So these are just a few of the topics, but this is a 17 chapter book, and every chapter is absolutely amazing. Each chapter peels back another layer. It talks about boundaries between you and your kids, you and your spouse, you and yourself. I'm not going to go over everything, but I just kind of came on here today to um, encourage you to think about the subject of boundaries. Think about whether or not you have clear boundaries in your life, where they need to be set, where you need to begin to allow them from other people. If boundaries is something that you do struggle with, I want you to know that it's okay. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay if people don't like them. It's okay if people get upset by you setting boundaries, because we are living to please God and God alone. In the Bible, God is clear about who he is. 1 John 4:16 says that he is love. 1 John 1:6 says that he is not darkness. He's just so clear about who he is and what he allows. And we're made in his image. We need to follow his model. We need to do things the way God does things. See people the way God sees people. He loves us all no matter what we do. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be in close fellowship, with those of us who choose to do things outside of his will and his way. Anyway, I just wanted to talk briefly today on boundaries. So thank you for watching. Thank you for always tuning in. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, or requests, make sure that you list them in the comments below. And until we meet again, just stay safe out there. Be blessed. Remember that I love you, but most importantly, God loves you too. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.